Okay, this is now the 5 minute tarot, though it's going to be a bit, I think it's going to be more than 5 minutes. And today's date is the 20th of April 2017. And this is about doing readings and making sense of the question. Because I imagine usually, people want to know about the future, right? How is this going to work out? Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? Whatever it happens to be. And it occurred to me that people can want to know what's going to happen, but you really need to, well, you don't have to, but it can be useful to know what's going to happen if the person makes an effort to bring about something that they want, and what's going to happen if the person does nothing. You know what I mean? Is it going to turn out well with or without their effort? And you could ask about yourself or a child or a project that you're involved in. So what's going to happen? Is it going to work out the way you want? Or and how much of the good outcome depends on your effort. So the future, is it what we make it? Or is it what's going to happen anyway? Or is it a bit of both? It's a bit like how much of what happens in the future, what's going to happen in the future, is fate and fated and already written, and how much of it is free will. How much control do we have over the circumstances that we're going to experience later? However, fate and free will is hard to talk about. If you've ever sat in a pub when you were 18 and argued back and forth endlessly about fate and free will, it's a terrible waste of time, and it's hard to talk about. So how about if we consider that picking cards is going to show what the person's experience is going to be of the future, right? Which kind of covers both and allows us to know about how much fate and how much free will is going to be involved. It's a bit like if the weather report is that it's going to rain, okay, and you're going out, just because it's going to rain and you go out, it doesn't mean you're going to get wet. Okay, you don't have to get wet, because maybe you take an umbrella and maybe your feet get wet or your shoes get wet, but the rest of you doesn't. Or maybe there's a rain shower, but you happen to be indoors at the time that it's raining. So even though it's rains, you go out and you don't get wet at all. So that's one way of looking at the future as a weather report. But there's no guarantee that you're going to be affected or to what extent you're going to be affected by the weather. So it's a kind of flexible way of looking at the future. So what I did was I chose 3 cards this time, and there's going to be a photograph on screen of the 3 cards. But what I did was I turned them and I made a note. So we've got the 2 of Swords reversed, happened to be reversed when I picked it. We've got the 7 of Cups that was reversed, and we've got the 3 of Batons that's upright. So I happen to know that, but I don't want to lay them side by side, because that can make you think it's a past, present, and future spread, or it's a yes-no spread. So I put them in a random fashion and took the photograph so that I'm not looking for yes-no, but I know if the card was upright or reversed, and I want to make some kind of decision or interpretation of the cards themselves and their combinations, rather than have a framework. So we've got the 2 of Swords reversed, which, if we want a single word, it can be indecision. And we've got the 7 of Cups reversed, which can be confusion. And we've got the 3 of Batons upright, which can be optimism. So we've got indecision, confusion, and optimism going on in the life of the person who's asked the question, or to do with what the person is going to experience when it comes to the answer to the question. And if you think about it, if we had got the Tower instead of the 3 of Batons, we'd have had indecision, confusion, and because of the Tower, you have to break it all down and start over again. So we would look to the 2 of Swords and the 7 of Cups for information about how to dismantle the situation, or for what the foundation should be. We look to those 2 cards to give us ideas about what the new building should look like, or what the new project, or what the new relationship should look like. We need a foundation. So we look to the 2 Swords and the Seven of Cups for information about the foundation we should have or the person should build. But because we've got the Three of Batons, we've got a strand of optimism running through it all. So first, I'd like to consider each card individually. So we look at the card and we say we've got the Two of Swords reversed. So you're dealing with indecision. So because you're dealing with because you're going to be indecisive, don't expect quick answers. So when you're thinking about the question and the answer, don't expect quick and immediate answers. Because if you do, you're going to be disappointed or you're not going to be happy with what you come up with. And also at the same time, don't expect definite ideas. You'll get ideas, but then you've got to think it through or consider it and see how it ties in with other things. So you need to be patient. With this Two of Swords reversed, over the next, let's say, month when you're making the decision, you have to be patient. And maybe at this point, the reader would help the questioner give them information about the best way to go about making a decision. So from your reading and your conversation with people over the years, what have you come up with or what have you discovered that is a good way to make a decision if the person's indecisive? And this is where the input, personal input from the reader can be important. And then we've got the Seven of Cups reversed. So you say, okay, over the next month, you're also going to be confused. So perhaps what you have to do is be analytical. So being analytical seems a bit like the opposite or the antidote to confusion. So with the Seven of Cups upside down, we've got these 7 cups with stuff in them. So it can be, because it's upside down, it can be important for you, the questioner, to become clear about what or who is involved in the situation, in the question and the answer. Because while you're not sure about who's involved or what their input would be or what their expectation is, you're not going to know how to deal with the people. So maybe what you do is, there's a thing called a SWOT analysis, SWOT. You look at the situation and you write down the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats. And once you've figured out what those 4 different categories are or what they're like, you're in a stronger position to make a decision. And the third card we've got is the Three of Batons upright. So it's a bit like you're going to be able to see into the future, see into the distance. And this can mean what you do is you're going to be indecisive and confused, but take the long-term view. So maybe think about, look at the problem or the situation over the course of 90 days. 3 months is a good time period. And maybe figure out what you're going to do over the course of 3 months instead of what you're going to do about it tomorrow. That's too soon. It's maybe too quick, or you're too confused to be able to know tomorrow what's to be done. But over the course of 2 or 3 months, you've got time to understand the ins and outs and the strengths and weaknesses, and you're going to come to a better decision. So maybe you figure out steps to go through, and you come up with, every 2 weeks you're going to have milestones, or you're going to have an idea of where you want to be, what kind of situation you want to be in, and you after 2 weeks you review your situation, and if you need to make changes, you make changes. So we look at all 3 together and we say to the person, don't worry if you can't make up your mind, because you're going to be able to. The Two of Swords reversed, the Seven of Cups reversed, can't make up your mind. The Three of Batons upright, you will be able to. So there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And know that when you're going through or dealing with the situation that you're asking about. And this isn't just the reader being encouraging or being supportive, and telling them nice stuff. It's based on the cards that came up. And you would say something different or something else if you'd got different cards. Then we might talk about the 2 reverse cards and think about what they might show as well. So with the reverse Two of Swords, you can be indecisive and not know what to do, and because you're not clear about what's possible. So narrow down what you're going to choose between and make a decision about what you're going to remove, or what the choice is going to be between. And at the same time, the Seven of Cups is reversed. So maybe we think, okay, 7 is too many. 7, whatever it is too many. So choose 3 or 4. And then you've got fewer things to distract you or confuse you. And you've got a more manageable number of possibilities to work with and to think about and to decide on. And that would mean that with a combination of fewer things to think about and a better idea of what it is that you want to achieve, then your optimism from the 3 of Batons is going to give you the correct answer, or going to give you good answers to the questions that you've got. So I'm saying 7 may be too many, so choose 3 or 4. And yes, we can do anything. But it's important to figure out and do what we actually want to do. So I was thinking about this and I thought, okay, I could learn to play bass guitar and join a band and be the bass guitarist in a band. But I don't really want to do that. I mean, it might be nice if I already knew how to play bass guitar and I was motivated to play in a band. Okay, that could be a goal, but I don't really care that much, even though it's a nice idea. So what am I going to do? I'm not going to waste my time imagining what it would be like to play bass guitar in a band, because it's not what I actually want. I'm better off, and the questioners are better off, thinking about what they actually want. And once they know what they want, how are they going to get it? So by taking the 7 and saying that's too many and choose 3 or 4, you're simplifying your life. So get rid of people and situations you're not interested in and think about what else you can safely remove from your life or from your list of things that have to be done. And that's one good way of dealing with the 2 of Swords reversed, the 7 of Cups reversed, and the 3 of Batons. Okay, that was quite long, so tomorrow I'll make a short video. Thank you very much for watching.